Right, good morning, everybody.
I know.
There we are. Look at that. Look at that. Wow. Merry Christmas. Oh my gosh. Best outfit. Hello.
Thank you.
I've worn the Loveland Roofing train as well. Loveland Roofing. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we'll turn this around. So we got a lot of fun info to cover today, so we're gonna get started in just a second. Let me just wrangle this crowd real quick. All right, good morning, everybody. Merry Christmas. All right, Barry, before we get started, I don't know if you can all see the wonderful decorations on the table and all the candies. Do you know who to thank for that? Miss Crystal Ray. Everybody give Crystal a round of applause. So for those of you who are online, you're missing out on cups, hot chocolate, and a whole lot of fun stuff. So, but we're glad you're here. Go ahead and turn those cameras on. Bye. Yeah, she did all of it.
Good morning.
Good morning. By the way, if you're online, go ahead and turn your cameras on. We want to see your smiling faces. You just have to be dressed from camera level up. And if you didn't do your makeup, click that glamour button and you'll be okay.
I don't even want to know how you know that.
I know.
Yeah.
Yours is set on permanent. Your assistant Lauren set it for you permanently, Barry. Yeah. Yeah. We don't want to see the non-touched up Barry. All right. So we got a lot of ground to cover and very little time to do it in. Brent has lined up two fantastic keynote speakers for us today. So we're ending the year strong. But before we get too far into it, Miss Lindsay, I know Lindsay's on a clock. So Lindsay, would you mind sharing us what's happening in the wonderful world of lending? All right. Clap on up to the front, everybody.
Hi guys, good to see you. JJ is out of town celebrating Christmas with his family. So I wanted to elaborate on, if you were on the call on Wednesday, you kind of mentioned the Dream for All program that's coming back. We have kind of the insider scoop with some information that really hasn't totally been released yet, but we know that the program will be coming back, the Dream for All, in April. Wow. With details and the guidelines being released in January. So very exciting. The one piece of information we do know about it for sure is that it's going to be a lottery system. So it's not going to be the same kind of, open the floodgates, get in as fast as you can. It's going to be a lottery system. The details of that, we don't totally know. We'll know in January. So more to come on that. And then obviously your clients, if they're first time home buyers and they're looking for down payment assistance like that, we have the regular College FA that's available all the time. I just want to give you an idea of where that has been and where it is now for rates. So rates today for the Cal HFA for an FHA loan is 6% today. Wow. November 20th, they were.
I apologize. What did you say?
For Cal HFA.
It's hard to talk and listen at the same time, huh, Barry?
For Cal HFA, down payment assistance with FHA, 6% on the interest rate today. 30 days ago on November 20th, it was 6.75, and 60 days ago, it was 7.625. Wow. So your affordability for clients has opened up dramatically. Coming down over 1.5 is huge. So
6 point what? Sorry.
6% today.
Wow.
Yep. That's for FHA. I think conventional is 6.375 or 6.25 today. VA is the same, 6%, same as FHA today. So, your clients that are thinking about that program or maybe wanted to qualify last year and missed the boat, get them pre-approved for both programs. We can look at them side by side, say, this is what you qualify for if you can get on the lottery for Dream for All. This is what you qualify for with the regular down payment assistance, so that they know what their options are and that there's a backup if the Dream for All, isn't available. So just wanted to give you guys a little bit of information on that. I think that was kind of what we wanted to elaborate on today.
Absolutely,
so, yeah.
Awesome.
Great news in the world of mortgage. We finally have a little bit of good news.
We almost like you guys again. Yeah. Yeah. Merry Christmas. It's a Christmas miracle. That's what it is. All right. Hey, real quick. So what does this mean for our buyers and sellers? Sellers, every 10% or every 1% drop in interest rates, 10% more buyers move into the market. Okay. So we've almost dropped to almost 2%. So that's almost 20% more potential buyers. Right now is the perfect time for your buyers to be getting pre-approved, because guess what? all these other buyers that they're going to be competing with are hearing this, and the market has not reacted to it yet. So that still means your buyers can get great rates and get credits. Okay. And so will that be true in January, February, March, April, May, when things are really popping? Probably not as likely, as all these buyers come to the market and inventory will still probably be tighter than we've seen in years past. So now is the time if your buyers want to get a deal. So have them reach out to Lindsay, reach out to JJ. Lindsay, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you and JJ?
Yeah, you guys can always reach, I know JJ gives his cell phone out, probably most of you have it, you can always reach me directly on my cell phone too, which is 916-801-9409.
9409. And you guys are licensed in, what are the main states you operate out of? Like, I think it's 48.
Nevada, Oregon, Washington, Texas, Tennessee, Florida. Our company as a whole is licensed everywhere except for New York. So we really can do every loan except for New York. And they would all like be through us now, so.
Perfect. So if you have,
Reiterate that, these guys really can do a lot. At their company, they have specialists that do more loans in that specialty than many lenders do all year. And like, I'm saying like a land specialist or their specialists do more than many lenders.
Yeah.
100%.
We have full designated teams. We have a construction team, we have a renovation team for 203K loans. You know, plus reverse, you know, plus we do mobile homes, down payment assistance, jumbo. I mean, we really do have a pretty broad spectrum, and that was just an adaptation to the market. You know, as things change, we find ways to, you know, become more available to more clients, so.
Yeah. So if you have sellers who are moving out of state, connect them with Lindsay and JJ so they can get a loan. If you have buyers who are local, obviously connect them with Lindsay and JJ. All right. So I think we're gonna give you a clap, but one more Christmas clap for Lindsay. Okay, so our next speaker is going to be Boomerang and Laura. How do you pronounce your last name, Laura?
Good luck. It's Cavalcanti.
Cavalcanti. That's a singing name. It's really pretty. So, quick background on Laura and her company is there's a company here locally that does what the same exact thing that her company Boomerang provides. But I have been on a hunt for about 2 years to find Laura. And the reason why is because the company that provides the same service is tied to a specific brokerage. So if you don't hang your license with that brokerage, you cannot use their service. Don't like being told no. Took me 2 years. I got a yes. So Laura, what is it your company does?
Thank you for having me. Do you mind if I share my screen?
Absolutely. Please do.
Okay, perfect. And happy holidays to all of you. So Boomerang is an outstanding way for you guys to stay top of mind. Let me get this full screen here. With your Sphere, with your SOI. However, some people do use it to farm as well. So it started actually here in Colorado, that's where I am now, by a team of real estate agents who, you know, they're sending out the sports schedules and the recipe cards way back in the day. And they're like, we need to up our game. We need to do something different. So they came up with this concept called Boomerang. And what we do is partner with local businesses. So every month we feature something either 100% free or buy one, get one free on a postcard. I know mail's dead, which is great because it makes it stand out even more. On the front of the card, it'll say compliments of your name and company name. This is actually an offer coming up here in Colorado. It's 2 free tickets to the Home and Garden Show. People love it. It's downtown at the convention center. But anyway, so this is an outstanding card. The back of the card has your beautiful faces, all of your contact information, your logo, of course, and then you can put a tagline. So a lot of people do a call to action down here. I have one guy who does dad jokes every single month, which is kind of amusing, but you can do whatever you want. Some people lately have also been putting a QR code that links them to their website on the back of the card. So you can do that as well. Are you guys with me so far? Thumbs up.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Just want to be sure. We also, oh, sorry, this is a little blurry, but we also do co-ops. So I know a lender just spoke. This is a great product to co-op with a lender. You cut the cost in half, which makes it 50 cents per person. And then you can focus on a farm area, or you can both mail out to your list. Okay. These are a few of thousands and thousands of businesses we work with. Some of these you won't recognize being in Sacramento, but we do anything from, you know, free skiing in certain markets to a round of golf to $10 at Whole Foods is a really good one. Do you guys have Whole Foods out there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love this one. Jamba Juice. I mean, the list goes on and on. So these change every single month. If you go to our website, you'll see an interactive map. And everywhere we have a dot, we have offers. So you're not going to see one in Sacramento because we do not have offers there yet. But that's why I'm on this call today, I guess, is to tell you about this product. And if this is something that you guys want out there, then we can go ahead and launch the Sacramento market, which would be awesome. As far as signing up, what we're gonna do first is I'm gonna send you like an interest form after this meeting, and you guys can fill out that form if you don't mind, and it'll gauge your interest in this product. And if there's enough interest, we're gonna go ahead and launch. And when we do launch, you guys would just sign up on our website. So it's very simple. It takes about 10 minutes. As far as pricing goes, there's two options. The first one is 99 cents a card, and that's for a monthly mailing. So that's your only cost, 99 cents. We don't have any minimums, so literally you could mail to yourself every month if you wanted to. But 99 cents is monthly, or $1.09 is for an every other month, so 6 touches per year. People love receiving Boomerang because obviously you're providing value. Value goes a long way. It's kind of like a thank you. A lot of times your clients will think you paid full price for these awesome offers, but you don't. You just pay the 99 cents. And then when they get the feedback I've received the most is your clients will call and thank you for it. They'll take their card with your information, they'll put it in their car or hang it on the fridge and, either use it or throw it away. It doesn't matter because the next month they're going to get one. So it definitely has a longer shelf life than most things, especially, text message. It's kind of like we don't even remember what we got that day. That's it. This is my contact information. It's also going to be in that form that I'm going to submit to you guys after, so don't worry about writing it down. And then we will go from there. Any
Thank you. Might
questions?
put the QR code back up.
QR code. Yeah.
You
You?
might go to the last thing.
Yeah, the thing is, we don't have any offers out there yet. So if you did sign up, you're gonna get the offer closest to you, which would that be would that be San Mateo? San
Yeah.
Jose?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get one of those. Which is fine. If you guys want to get those offers, that's fine. You probably won't be able to redeem them, but it'll at least give you a sense of like what we do and remind you of what we do. So
Beautiful.
go for it.
Laura, we do have some questions. Go ahead.
Oh, I love
So
questions.
the establishments that you're have an agreement with, say if you start in Sacramento, when you walk in as a client, is there information somewhere in that establishment that they're doing business with this realtor? Any signage inside, like say you get a pizza place, and that's part of the card, and the people walk into the pizza place, so they're gonna see that we're a preferred realtor in that advertisement.
No, and I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of your question, but let me see if I can try to answer it. So when your clients receive this card, your face is going to be on it and all your information. So when they walk into that establishment to redeem it, I mean, your information is going to be on that establishment's card. Does that make sense?
No, it makes
Did that
sense.
answer your question?
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
Awesome.
good.
Any questions in the room? All right. So we do, in order to unlock a market, we would need 3,000 cards to be going out monthly. Is that correct, Laura? Right around there?
That's correct. Yep, that's it.
So if you're, we got 200, we need 2,800 left. All right.
Do I
So
hear
we're
500?
basically 10% of the way there. We're there already. Laura, just
That's
unlock
great.
it and we'll get it figured out.
You
But
guys-
anyways, reach out to Laura and we'll figure it out. So the reason why this came to be, just to put a bow on this and move on, is an agent on my team handed me a card and said, why don't we do something like this? And I was like, I've been trying. agent who will not be named, Crystal. I've been trying Crystal for the last 2 years to figure this out, but she lit the fire under me. And in order for us to do this, we do need now an additional 2,800 people to sign up. So our team will provide it as well to our past clients and to your sphere. But if you're not on our team, if you're just a solo agent, not just, if you are a solo agent with EXP, then this is something that's open to you. The idea is that this is open to anybody in this room and anybody in our market, because very few people are going to capitalize on this opportunity. And this isn't cold farming. This is to your sphere, right? So for $1, so let's say you have 50 people, for $50 a month, you can stay in front of your past clients with something that they want, something more than just a oil change, right?
Can I just say something?
Yeah,
on
please
that?
do, Crystal.
So prior to me being a realtor myself and joining the EXP family, I had a really good realtor that I'm very good friends with. And that's where the cards came from. He's helped me buy and sell 3 homes. And so top of mind, every 3 months, I get a postcard from John, got his photo on it. It's got a great deal. So it just keeps him top of mind. So it's a great way to stay connected to your sphere.
Good stuff. All right. Any questions
you.
for Laura before we let her go? I always knew you got, I was kept looking at you. I was waiting for it, Tom. What do you got?
The, it's every 3 months, every once a quarter.
I don't know what I was.
Oh, okay.
It's
Monthly
either
or every-
monthly or
or-
every other month.
So it's a difference of 99 cents monthly or $1.09 for every other month. And there's no
Correct.
minimum.
No minimums.
Watch out, Laura. I'm going to get your job.
That's fine. Come get it. We can work together, okay? You're doing a great
Love
job.
it. Love it. You can. So I asked the same question about farming, and the answer that the CEO gave me was you can use it for farming, but it doesn't, that's a long play. That's 18 months of you doing this monthly. Whereas typically your past clients, you'll see a pop sooner. You'll see a return
Yep.
faster.
Absolutely. Yeah, in the
Wonderful.
11 years I've been doing this, the feedback is always positive. Always. I mean, people get transactions out of it, referrals. I don't know anyone who hasn't liked it in 11 years. So I'm certain you guys will love it. So discuss amongst your team. I'll get out that form to you guys and we'll just
Yes,
take it
please.
from there, okay?
Yeah. So just so we're all clear, reach out to myself or Laura. We'll get that form filled out. We need to have a total of 3,000, a commitment of 3,000 mailers going out a month in order to get this market launched. So that doesn't mean you have to do 3,000. Maybe you're 50, maybe you're 100, maybe somebody's 200, maybe somebody's more. But the goal is to get this launched and provide more value to our clients and kick off a strong 2024. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Laura.
Thanks, guys. Happy holidays.
Yeah.
Bye.
And bye. Merry Christmas. And so the moment we've all been waiting for, the keynote, Brent called me so excited last week. He's like, Johnny, I don't know who you have speaking next week, but you have to cancel them. You have to cancel them. You have to have these guys. They are fun. They are the best. They're gonna change these realtors' lives. There's so many realtors that are operating as sole proprietorships, which is a highly risky and not tax favorable situation. There are so many realtors that if they just had an access to a line of credit, they could flip their own homes. How many times do we walk into a home and go, man, I might have to give this one to Tom Daves because freaking Tom has the money and he'll flip the home. But if only I had the access to the line of credit, I could do that. And last but certainly not least, how many of us, like, we're all going to die. Spoiler alert. We all end up paying taxes and dying, but what happens to those who are left behind? Do you have estates? Are you set up so that way the people left behind are taken care of? Okay. And so he's like, this is absolutely important. This is critical. This is how I want to end the year. So with that, I don't know who's gonna be speaking, Mr. Ty, or who is it? Nick?
I got it. How we doing?
Morning, Tommy. Doing well.
Good morning. I talked to Brent last week and he was sick and I think he got me sick through the phone. I didn't get out of bed all day yesterday, but after promising saving you guys thousands of dollars in taxes, I wasn't going to bail on you. So here we are.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Happy holidays, everyone. I'm excited about this. My dad owned a real estate brokerage. My mom still is an agent and my wife is also a real estate agent. Boomerang is very clearly in the Salt Lake market because I feel like I have about 30 of those on my fridge. So they do work. They stay on fridges. There's no doubt about that. But one of the biggest arguments with my parents, at least, was a lot of times taxes. And to your point, Benjamin Franklin, I believe, said it was death and taxes. They're not going anywhere. So How can we prepare for them? How can you make sure that you have a solid foundation, you're set up properly? My goal with it being December 21st, we're kind of cutting the deadline here, but hopefully I'll leave it with some questions, but hopefully I can save you a couple thousands of dollars in taxes before the end of the year with just easy little wins. And then the goal for next year is how can you be more proactive as opposed to reactive when it comes to tax planning? Who feels like they're totally dialed in and ready for taxes? Raise a hands in there. Who knows what their bottom line is going to look like?
Mallory, raise
Hey, I
your
see
hand.
it.
That's all.
I see a couple hands. That's better than expected. Not the most exciting topic in the world, obviously, but hopefully everyone, I've got some slides here and I'll cruise through them and then make sure I leave some time for Q&A. But the goal with all of this stuff is how can we continue to just learn together? The more that you can understand what your bottom line looks like, break the year up into calendar quarters, right? January, February, March, quarter one. April, May, June, quarter two, so on and so forth. The fourth quarter of the year should feel like a business shopping spree. Get the mailers that you need, get the light, get the camera, get the signs, get the things that are going to benefit your bottom line so that you don't unfortunately have to end up paying it come tax time. Because ultimately that's how it's set up, is use it or lose it, right? Either you're going to reinvest back into yourself. When you have a W-2, you go to work, they take money out and you pay bills with what's left. The beauty of this model and the beauty of being self-employed, you go generate your own income, you reinvest back into the business, and then you pay taxes on what's left. So massive benefit there. I am interested. Do you mind? Once again, I'm going to have to go kind of raise of hands in the room there. And then also, if you wouldn't mind in the chat, I'm interested who has, raise your hand if you have some sort of business entity, an LLC, a PLLC, an S corporation, something that you're operating your business through. Good, good, good. Okay, cool. The reason that I bring that up is there's quite a few different options, and what we'll talk about are different types of entities, business deductions, how they work, what you qualify for, asset protection, generational wealth. It's not about where you are right now. It's where you're going to be in 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, 10 year. And then number 4, personal credit versus business credit. All of you being entrepreneurs, and Johnny, the point you made about having a line of credit, walking into a property that's like, man, I'd like to flip this thing. I've never met an entrepreneur that says, I wish I had less money. Still waiting for that day to happen. Just because the more funding options you have, the easier it is to be able to make more money, help more people, whatever it is that the goal is. So those are kind of what we'll walk through here today. Legal disclaimer, everyone's favorite part. 2 things. First of all, everyone's situation is different, right? Some of you are married, some of you have kids, some of you have multiple businesses. That is going to change your overall tax picture. Make sure that you talk to either your accountant, your CPA, or schedule a call with us to have your free one-on-one so that we can make sure that you know in the weeds what you can do for your business. And then number 2 on the legal disclaimer, I am not a CPA or an attorney. However, I have a full team of CPAs and attorneys that work for me. So I'm the president of Prime Corporate Services. We have about 80 accountants that file taxes in all 50 states. Lindsay, I need to know if you can close deals in Missouri. I hate the lender that I have there. So if you do, I've already got your number down. But I also have a full team of attorneys that do all of the work. So the reason that we're here is to give you value before the end of the year, hopefully get you something set up where you feel more comfortable with what your overall profit and loss looks like for your business. So with that being said, we can do entity structure, business credit, tax prep, tax filing, bookkeeping, and also estate planning. All right, jumping into it here. Every state is a little bit different. And I want you to make sure that based off of the state that you are in, you have what you truly need. It sounds like a lot of you are in California. We set up a lot of PLLCs, professional LLCs with just your first name, your last name, tied with your professional license number. But the reason that I asked earlier, who has LLCs, who has corporations, I'm excited to see as many hands go up as I did. Okay, two things that I think are extremely valuable for everyone to understand. First of all, there's no tax code that says you have to be good at business, right? But there is a tax code that says if you have the intent, you can take business related deductions. So make sure that you have some sort of business entity set up. Out of 100% of audits that happened last year, 99.4 of them were audits on personal. Okay, 0.6 were audits on businesses. That alone is like, set up a business entity, take your business related deductions. You're all self-employed. There's no reason for you to not write off the education, the consulting, the boomerangs, the advertising, all these things, all these expenses that go into running and operating your business. Having a business entity is crucial in order to maximize on those deductions. Okay. So any questions on the business entity alone? I'm going to go over to some tax saving stuff, but go ahead. You have one?
Tommy, do you have time for a quick question?
Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. Let's do it.
So, Tommy, I've heard from other tax people that the point you need to set that entity up for self-employment savings is right around when you're making 75,000 in commission. Is that a good cutoff of when somebody would need to go to do that because of the extra cost involved and stuff with filing two taxes?
You know, really good question. It kind of depends on where you live. I mean, California, I'm assuming, is where that question's coming from because there's an $800 a year franchise fee out of California. I'm in Utah. Mine's $15, $20 a year, right? So I think that the state is going to make a big difference. However, the reason I would disagree, and here's what's interesting. You ask 10 attorneys, you get 15 different answers. You ask 10 accountants, you get 15 different answers. There's truth somewhere in the middle. They need to model that out for you and make sure that you're clear. Usually what we'll see is if you start as an LLC, you can get 5,000 in startup, 5,000 in organizational. That alone should pay for itself from a deduction standpoint. Once you're making $20,000 to $40,000 or more, then you can have the LLC or the PLLC taxed as an S corporation. That's probably what they were talking about, I would assume. The S corp election allows you to pay yourself a salary or a distribution. It also allows you to avoid half of your self-employment tax, which is Medicare, Social Security, saves you about 7%. So even on a $50,000 income, if you're saving that, we're looking at $3,000, $4,000 in savings. So if you have a creative accountant and you're game planning throughout the course of the year, it should pay for itself with no money made. It should really pay for itself after the first dollar is made. There's a lot of savings that come before that $75,000 mark, though.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. It's a really good question. Because even on the California franchise tax, $800 isn't ideal, right? California's charging you for the weather. I'm in Utah. At this point, I'd probably pay the $800 for some sunshine, but that's above my pay grade, I guess. That $800 is now also tax deductible. It used to not be. A couple years ago, you wouldn't. So I don't know when you got the information, or let's just make sure that you have it laid out. You have the pros and cons, because there's usually a lot of benefit in setting that up sooner than later. Now, once you have the business entity in place, the number one recommendation that I would give to anyone when it comes to taxes is have a system or a way to track your expenses. And this could be one of your New Year's goals going into next year, but whether it's QuickBooks, an Excel spreadsheet, there's a really cool app. It's called Keeper. It's like $100 or $200 a year. It's a pretty slick app though. You can connect all of your bank accounts, all of your credit cards, and it'll text you. It'll say, Johnny, I saw you went to lunch yesterday. Was that business related? Johnny just replies yes or no, and then it tracks it for him in the app. Pretty slick. It's pretty cool app. So if you're tracking your expenses, it's a whole lot easier to win in the game of taxes. You don't remember what you had for lunch last Tuesday. You're certainly not going to remember if it was business related a month from now. So tracking those is very important, right? Advisory costs. Any consulting, any education, any mastermind, we don't want that to be education because there's limitations or they want accredited universities. So make sure that you're writing those off as consulting, as education, the cost to be a part of the community. We want those to be deductible. We all know about the marketing expenses, the phone, the internet, the power, vehicle expenses. Something that I wish I knew about taxes years before I did is there's so much gray area. And a lot of times you probably find yourself asking, is this or is this not business related? There's 4 words that the IRS is really looking for you to be able to maximize on your tax deductions. We've got ordinary or necessary. So a business lunch isn't necessary, but it's ordinary. People have them, right? Can you justify that it's ordinary or necessary to tie back into your business? The other 2 are helpful or appropriate. Is it helpful or appropriate for you to generate income? If you can ask yourself that question with one of those 4 words, track it, organize it, and let's make sure that you're getting that over to your professional to double check it for you. Okay. Because it's a good question around the entity setup. A lot of the deductions that you're able to take, especially the higher level ones, really do depend on your income, right? More money, more problems, but they are good problems to have. We're going to welcome them with open arms. Because as you start to generate more revenues, you can start to invest into things for the future that become extremely beneficial for future generations as well. This is something that I've become very passionate about over the last couple of years. I've got 2 little girls. I've got a 3-year-old who apparently just threw up in my wife's car. She just texted me. sorry to share. And then I've also got a 4-month-old little daughter. Both of them are going to make $13,849 this year. Convenient, right? They look like their mother, so they're models. Lucky for them, they don't look like me. But is it reasonable work, right? Can they help you with signs? Can they help you with different things? I have some clients that will pay their children and have them pay for their sports and for their dance and teach them financial management. But the benefit of this is I get the write-off. My kids don't have to claim it on taxes because they didn't make enough money. They're under the standard deduction. It can be $500, $1,000. It doesn't have to be the full amount, but this is where the benefit lies. Okay. Has anyone operated the Augusta rule as a tax savings? Has anyone done this or facilitated this?
We have, yeah.
You have, Johnny?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Did it save you pretty good? It's a cool little strategy, right? It's amazing for anyone agents specifically kind of have a leg up for this one. It is, once again, one that you need to be generating income for. But the Augusta rule in the 70s, the Masters golf tournament goes to Augusta, Georgia every year, right? And in the 1970s, a gentleman left and got audited for renting out his house and not claiming the income. So fortunate for all of us, he's got friends in high places, went through Congress and all the way got passed. And it's section 280A of the tax code. It says you can rent your house out up to 14 days a year tax-free. So the way that I do this is on the 5th of every month, my business has a rental agreement with my home. I pay a reasonable rate. I get to write it off as a business owner and don't have to claim the income on the personal side. For you, if you're having people over, there's a lot of really cool things that you can do as an agent. I just do it on the 5th because minutes, meetings, quarterly meetings, monthly meetings, as long as you're tracking it. It's not rocket science. It's a very, very easy deduction. A lot of times it just comes down to knowing what you can do, how much you can rent it for, and being able to make sure you have the paperwork in place. So if these are things you feel like would help you, we're happy to assist and make sure to get all these things in place for you.
Just so you guys are clear on, you can do this right now. If you go back and you think about events you've already done, or the functions you've held at your house, talk to these guys and see how they can get it figured out for you. So it's not like you don't have to wait till 2024 to claim this deduction. You can claim it this year. Correct.
Yeah, deductions that I think are beneficial for all of you right now, being that we only have a couple days before the end of the year. If you don't have a health savings account, call your insurance, see if they qualify for a health savings account. It's one of the only triple deductions. If you're single, it's up to about $3,700. If you're married, it's about $7,800. But I put the $7,800 in, I get the tax deduction. I pull the money back out, I get the tax deduction. I pay it for medical expenses, I get the tax deduction. That's an easy one that you can do before the end of the year, is a health savings account, the Augusta rule, paying your children if you had the income there. Make sure that if you need some last ditch, last minute things, these are things that you're looking into for sure. Any other questions on any of these, by the way? Johnny, anything you want to add over there or anything else?
No, you're rocking and rolling. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. This Augusta rule is cool. I mean, it'll save $5,000 to $20,000 for our clients that really facilitate and operate this one. And then the paying the kids thing is cool because my 3-year-old had this brilliant idea of putting the money into an IRA. It should be like $1 million by the time she's 25, right? But you can have them put it into retirement accounts where they can invest. You can have them put it into working with the school and having it pay for the sports and the dance, and just really helps that way as well. What company for health savings account? Really good question. I don't have a great answer to that, but you can open it up with like a bank or a credit union is oftentimes. I don't know if anyone has a recommendation on a company.
What was your question?
Hey, Tommy, just a quick question on the Augusta rule. On the slide, it said up to 14 days, and then Johnny mentioned events, so forgive my confusion. Is it you can write off for events that you had at your house, or if someone had stayed at your house for up to 14 days a year? Pardon me for not being fair on that.
Really good question. It's no big deal. So you can do either or if it's business related. So as long as it's less than 14 days, then you don't have to claim the income, whether it's someone renting out your house and they're paying you, or if it's like a meeting. I just set it up for the meeting and treat it like a corporate offsite meeting, but you can do either or as long as you have it documented. There's an actual transaction that makes place and it's less than 14 days a year.
So is it like someone staying at your house for a week and like if you have to have an ADU for that to happen, or you just rent out a room, or is it that specific?
Yeah, it's as long as it's less than 14 days, you can set the amount, whether it's half the house or whether it's the whole house. But that's how that whole started, is because like even in Augusta, that's still happening where people will rent it out for 13 days. Whatever the amount is, people sleeping in their house, they won't claim the income. So as long as it's tracked and as long as it's less than 14 days, whether it's people staying at your house, it could be 13 consecutive days. It could be broken up throughout the course of the year. You just need to make sure to track it and have an actual payment. So what I do is on every 5th of the month, my business actually pays into my personal account for rent on my personal property. So you do need to make sure that you have the alibi of an actual transaction that's going from business account to personal account. Or if you're renting it out to a client and you're charging them $100 a day or whatever it is, you just don't have to claim that as taxable income.
I think you have a question too in the chat box, Tommy.
Is it a set amount for donations or total for year better? Yeah, there's a couple different things that you can do on. So every year the IRS comes out with tax code changes. And last year I just about fell out of my chair. They called them inflation adjustments. Couldn't believe that someone was admitting that there was inflation going on here. But they increased the gift donation from 16 to 17,000. They increased the standard deduction. But as far as the donations, a lot of it is going to be based off of the income, and I can pull those set amounts and send those to you as well. I'll pull the set amount on those ones. Yeah, you can have a health insurance, but you'll only get the one deduction on that one.
When you're saying gift amount, you're talking about gifting to children and family members or. Okay, so you're talking, okay, donate to church. Okay.
Charitable donation.
So
Yeah,
17
charitable donations and gifts up to 17,000. So if you're getting gifts for your clients, or if you're doing something like that, you get up to 17,000 on the deduction for gifts. But it does need to tie back into your business, right? There can't be, that's where this stuff becomes very kind of gray area is how can you tie it back into your business? One of our CPAs says you got people thinking that they can buy gator boots and write them off. If they're for the business, they need to have the logos with the clothing and everything else. But if it's gifts, if it's baskets, if it's things that you're using for your clientele, those can also become deductible expenses as well. Cool. And then from an asset protection standpoint, just separate out those liabilities. I know as agents and as brokers, you become investors inherently, right? A lot of times that's just part of the game is if you're doing what you need to with your money, you're finding good properties, you're turning these things into opportunities of your own, separate out your entities. Personal is personal, business is business. And the more successful you become, the larger the target on your back becomes, but make sure that you are separating your brokerage, your realtor business from your investor business, and be very clear whether it's active income or passive income so that you can maximize from a tax standpoint. Okay, as far as the roadmap is concerned, long term, I feel like these are things that everyone should have in place. Trust, will, living will, power of attorney. My uncle unexpectedly passed away a couple weeks ago, unfortunately, and my cousins had no idea what to do. Fortunately, my uncle did have a trust. It laid everything out. He was in California as well. That's where I was initially born. And without this trust, California would have stepped in and taken $200,000 right off the top of the property value, just going through probate, right? California is one of the worst when it comes to taking money from probate, but having a living trust is important for everybody. If you don't have those in place, I highly recommend you put them on the to-do list. And then from there, whenever you set up a business entity, the three things that I would recommend you really take into consideration. Number one is privacy and protection. How much privacy do you want? Agents, brokers, not as worried about that as a lot of other investors that we work with. Number two, tax benefits, profit or loss. Good or bad, profit or loss. How do you put yourself in a better position? And then number three is credibility. You're obviously already showing yourself as a professional, but how do you do so with banks and lenders as well to become more bankable, to get more funding long-term? That's one of the areas that we can also talk about with business credit and corporate funding here. I'm going to get through these last two slides real quick, and then we'll open it up for some more questions. As far as personal credit and business credit, everyone has a legal name, a social security number or an ITIN, and a personal FICO credit score. Okay, we want to do the same thing for the business. Make sure you have that legitimate business name, which it sounds like most of you do. Make sure you have the EIN or the employer identification number, and then build and develop a paydex score. Okay, building business credit is not something that happens overnight. It does take a little bit of time. But if you can build up that pay deck score, use business credit, let the business pay for itself, and then pay yourself from there, not only are you keeping yourself more organized from a tax standpoint, but you're really separating your liability and opening the doors for future opportunities. Okay. A good example, I've been building my business credit for about 8 years. And a couple months ago, I had an opportunity to buy 7 acres and 2 mobile homes in Missouri. And I share that because if you were to tell me that's what I was going to do 8 years ago, I would have called you crazy. But instead of what would have been at the time an 8% rate, I used a business line of credit at 4%. So I think not only helping the investors and the people that you're working with, but also making sure you're opening the doors for yourself from an investment standpoint long term truly does turn into an obvious no-brainer. So what I'll do, I want to go through these questions. I want to make sure I leave time to answer any live questions that we can as well. But feel free to schedule a free hour consultation to speak with our team as well. I know a lot of these areas are kind of 30,000 foot view, but do you need an LLC? Do you need a PLLC? Does an S corp benefit you before the end of the year? Do you need help from a tax standpoint? This call is for you. So as much value as you can rip from that call. If you're brand new, let us know. If you're a seasoned vet, which I know a lot of you are, if it's more from a tax saving standpoint, what can we do to assist you to make sure that you're proactive and not reactive going into next year? Okay. Thank you. Ty just threw that in the chat as well.
Love it. All right, guys. What I will say, I know you probably have a ton of questions for these guys, and they left some time for the questions. But if your stuff is like really granular and you're like wondering, hey, how do I get the answers? My CPA or my accountant or my whatever is not getting me this information, book your free call. Like they're on here to be a resource for you. They're here to provide the answers to the questions. And if your current provider is not providing those services, then why are you going to ask them? Right? They should have told you already. So I would reach out to these guys. Again, I'm not getting paid to say this. Brent's not getting paid to say this. We just want to see you save some money and, you know, keep it for your business rather than giving it to Uncle Sam. So with that,
Hi, my name's Adriana. I swear I'm not a plant. So I'm
Thank
new
you.
to EXP. However, I use Prime because I have a real estate investment company. They set up my LLCs, they do my taxes, they also help me with business growth. So I just want to say how amazing they are. And
Wow.
I can't, yeah, this is just a total, like I saw who they are, they're amazing. And it's a one-stop shop. They'll explain everything. Do that half hour or hour free call, whatever it is, because they'll explain everything to you. And you can pick, choose what you need and what you use. So they're amazing. So thanks, Tommy.
There you go. How long have you been using?
Checks in the mail.
All right, good. I'm checking. No, but I joined, probably last year sometime.
Like 22?
20, maybe even 21 when I retired from the Navy. They set up,
Okay.
I want to say 3 of my 4 companies.
Oh, wow.
I do have a question though.
Let's hear it.
Tommy. I started using the business, build your credit with the business, and it's completely my fault that I never followed up. Is that a certain time frame that you have to do that? Is that a year that I pay for? Is that,
We tell you a year so that you actually do it, but if you didn't do it, we will extend the time. We put
Okay.
fake urgency on you of a year to try and get you to do it. Just reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you. If you even want to tell me your first and last name or drop it in the chat or whatever we need to do, I'll get someone in contact with you as soon as you want, and we can get back building that. It's no big deal.
because it is 1,000% my fault. You guys have been amazing on every aspect, and it's a different person, just so you all know, a different person who is responsible for different aspects, and each person has just been amazing. So
Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
Gibson is a no. Mhm. Thank you.
I'll never forget it, by the way. I'll never forget your last name.
I should say that.
I know, depending on the circles. All right, what other questions y'all have? What you got?
I think that gentleman left, but I was just gonna say that for
a single member LLC, which most of us here probably would be single member, or we're also married couples together, like me and my wife have an LLC. And, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been advised by my tax person that, we're like a, single entity, so we file taxes the same time, same, part of the year, even though we are LLC, because we're single member, me and my wife together, same person, file taxes jointly, that's why. So I don't know, just thought I'd throw that out there because it's really not a big headache. You don't have to worry about quarterly taxes unless you get to a partnership level. And yeah, that's it.
Let me just kind of sum that up for everyone as well. Thank you for this. This is what it's all about, is just the active communication and opening it up for what you're being told and what you can do oftentimes are two totally different things. Like my favorite part of my job is now that we're big enough, we started this thing with 4 people. I've got over 250 employees now. I've got a bunch of accountants, a bunch of attorneys, and not even the accountants and the attorneys can get on the same page all the time in-house. Attorneys should protect your assets. Accountants oftentimes lean towards the path of least resistance when it comes to filing your taxes. Like there's savings that are oftentimes, the average business owner leaves $9,000 a year on the table by not knowing what they can and cannot deduct. So corporations need to file by March 15th, individuals by April 15th. If you file an extension, you have September 15th or October 15th. But quarterlies are recommended, not required. Once you do quarterlies, you have to do quarterlies, right? Otherwise you have a fine or you have some sort of a penalty. So I was at a real estate event in Hawaii last year. I was speaking at this event and someone up there was like, who's a full-time real estate investor? Half of them raised their hand. They're like, who else? Who has W-2 with insurance? Other half raised their hand. They're like, marry each other. That way you get insurance and you have the real estate professional status. The point to that story is you guys have the real estate professional status on lock. It's the best depreciation in real estate, or the best deductions that you can ask for. When I talked to Brent on the phone last week, I was like, my life is easy talking to real estate investors because tax savings are everywhere. Just make sure that your game planning on is not filing quarterlies hurting you, or does having an S Corp election help you based off of the income level? And it goes back to even that $75,000 comment. There's savings before that 75 grand. But if you're proactive, it's a lot easier to find out where that savings is. So just make sure that you game plan and you're not waiting until the 15th, crossing your fingers that you get a return or don't get killed in taxes.
Tommy, there's a question in the room. Go ahead.
Tommy, do you guys, when you're talking about taxes and all the deductions, do you guys review past years to see if we, I can tell you certain ones that I know that I haven't taken. Is that impossible to do? You guys do that to be able to revise past years' deductions?
Yeah, we usually can go back up to 3 years. It's just whether or not it makes sense. If we do end up amending those returns, we'll have to file an amendment. Keep in mind, one of the goals is to keep the risk as low as possible. We don't want to raise red flags for no reason. So if we're going back and taking higher risk deductions, probably not going to do that. Let's just focus on the future. But if there's big red flags that could have saved you tens of thousands of dollars, then absolutely, let's go back and make those changes. When we file your taxes, we like to review the previous year because it gives us a good idea on what to do for future years. But you can go back up to 3 years and make those changes pretty easily if there's apparent red flags.
Awesome. I've got another question.
Do you recommend opening an LLC for intellectual property?
Will you ask it? I couldn't hear very well.
Would you recommend an LLC for intellectual property?
Yeah, I think that if you were to take into consideration what your protection and what your liabilities are, how can you turn it into a tax standpoint? Like having a business entity for something that is going to benefit you is I think a smart thing to do. We do have a relationship with like a trademark attorney, an IP attorney, and we do a lot of work that way as well. So if you're branding yourself or if you're doing things of that nature that would benefit, those are things that we can help with as well. I haven't really talked about any of those, but having IPs or having trademarks could be a benefit as well.
Cool. And then Valerie and I, back when we started our LLCs, we did a program to help build us our business line of credit, and it ended up being a load of horse bucky. So what can we expect if we were to sign up with you and we wanted to build that business credit score? Aside from whatever you charge, like what would the cost be for us to implement that strategy?
Yeah, good question. Sometimes, I mean, business credit certainly can be a lot of what I call it smoke and mirrors, because there's two major things that people do when they talk about business credit. The first one is more of a credit stacking model. And that's where people will tell you, I can get you $50,000 to $100,000 in 30 days. It's so easy. Everyone should do it. And then they go run the hell out of your credit, hurt your credit for 30, 60, 90 days. Sure, you get $50,000 to $100,000 in credit cards, but that could be beneficial for some people that are looking to flip a house or get in and out and make money off that deal. For us, it's broken up into really three separate terms. So step one, you've got the starter accounts, and the starter accounts are accounts that no one really wants. Staples, Lowe's, small dollar, not fun stuff that you're just like, Adriana, that could have been what happened to you. You're like, I don't need these accounts. I don't want these accounts. What am I doing here? But the reason it's important to get those starter accounts in place is if you get 4 credit histories that are reporting for 3 or 4 months, you can now open up and build up that Paydex score to get major credit cards for your business. Chase, Bank of America, with actually utilizing the Paydex score. It's not until a year or 2 when you're going to get actual lines of credit. And that's really what you want. So building business credit is a long-term commitment. By long-term, I mean, you should be able to get credit in 3 to 6 months, lines of credit in a year or 2. But I truly believe 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's a massive benefit. The 2 most important areas on your personal credit: don't miss a payment. We all know that one. How long have you had a line of credit? Only 16% of America's had a line of credit for 25 years or greater. And the fact that you can build business credit from the very beginning, I think it's valuable to have additional credit opportunities. So if you're going to do it, commit to sticking with it long term, I guess is my point, Johnny.
Got it. Cool. Thank you. All right, guys, we're just about left. We got time for one more question.
Piggybacking on what Johnny just asked, in addition to your costs, what are your costs?
So for all of them, or for what are we talking about here? For building business credit, like, you have to make some charges, $25 to $50 charges a month, pay it off, make sure that you're showing payment history. But across the board, I can tell you the relationship we've put together here, the goal is to really help a lot more people. And I think that we're starting with this group here to say, hey, you guys are making money. How much money can we save you in taxes? The entity costs are very minimal. You have to pay the state fees, the filing fees, the hard cost, call it $300 to $600, kind of depending on where you're located. The taxes could be $1,000 and above, depending on how many businesses, what your needs are. The taxes are my largest variation in price. Someone that has 1 business and compared to 10, they're paying 2 different prices. So I won't go over too much on the tax side because it's very situational there. The estate planning, you can't beat it. We've got a $3,000 estate plan option. It's generally $5,000, but when we have partnership in a relationship like this, we do them for $3,000. They are unlimited changes: trust, will, living will, and power of attorney. All 4 components, $3,000, unlimited changes moving forward. So all the costs are very, very reasonable once we have the partnership in place, and it's all custom to directly what you need and what you want based off of your business and your needs as well.
Wonderful. All right. Well, I know this wasn't like the most jolly conversation. Was this not valuable, guys? Was this helpful? Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Give Tommy a round of applause. Dude, hope you get better in time for Christmas and all that. I get to hang out with the family.
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't gonna miss it. I was in rough shape yesterday. I'm feeling better today, but man, oh man, sorry that I Sound like I smoked a pack of cigarettes before I came in here for you.
All good. You sound like a husky lumberjack, man. It's all good. All good. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for today. We will be kicking. We'll see y'all next year, January 4th. So no meeting next week, but we'll see you January 4th. Thank you so much, Brian, for hopping on. Have a great Christmas online. See y'all next year.